What's up, YouTube? This is Unruly coming to you with my Iron Man 3 rant review. Um, I'm not gonna like rant and curse and go crazy, but this is gonna be pretty spoiler filled. So if you don't want to be spoiled, don't watch the video and come back and watch it after you've seen the movie. So let's get started. We're going to talk about the elephant in the room, which is the Mandarin. And, I'm going to get this started first. If all you do is watch the movies, like Avengers and Iron Man and Hulk, you're going to like the film. You're going to have a great time in the movie theater. You're going to laugh. You're going to see some action. You're going to be like, cool. And that whole thing with the Mandarin is not going to affect you at all. You're even going to care because you guys have never read the comics or watched the TV shows and stuff like that, and so that's not going to affect you. But if you're a fan of the comics and you watch the cartoons and all that kind of stuff, and it's really going to it's really kicking the balls. It's like the extremist part was done really good. They changed some things from the comic. That's fine. Before in the comic book, Tony takes the extremists to survive, but they changed it in the movie to give it to Pepper. It's fine. That's not huge. It's like, oh, okay, I could see what they did. Blah blah blah. Wasn't so bad. But what they did with the Mandarin, making him an actor, that's just. And then they hype him up in the trailers. They really hype him up. They're like, he's talking all cool. He looks, badass. He's like a terrorist with swagger, you know. Yeah, I said swagger, huh? And and then he's got the rings, and that was the whole reason I was so excited for this film. I really wanted to see how they do the 10 rings of power, and I'm like, man, it's like, how are they gonna do it, and like how, they're gonna explain him fighting Iron Man, and all this kind of stuff. So I'm like, cool. And then, as time got closer to the film, I'm kind of seeing him using a lot of guns, and that's when it started to hit me. I think like they're just gonna skip all this, and they make him an actor, and it's such a kick in the balls. Now you may think, oh, they did it for the movie, but that's like watching Batman, right? And like let's say you're watching the second Batman movie, and you see the Joker and all this kind of stuff, and then you find out it was all Ra's al Ghul, and the Joker's just some wimpy actor. And when Batman confronts him, he's like, "Oh, I'm just, dude, I'm just an actor. This guy Ra's al Ghul gave me, like $1,000, because I'm an out of work comedic actor." And that's horrible. That's like, I don't know. I mean, like, let's face it. Iron Man's Rogues Gallery is not nearly as cool as Batman or like other characters and stuff like that. But the Mandarin is Iron Man's pretty much arch nemesis, and then to pretty much just crap on him like that, just to say, oh yeah, it's like I was ready to walk out of the theater, and that's just me because I like the comics. I like the whole thing, and that was my main reason. I wanted to see what they did with the rings, and yeah, it's a real bummer, and and yeah, it's bummed me out. The nerd in me got real sad. Now, here's my idea of how they could have done it. All right, they could have made Ben Kingsley a doped out actor, who was in Iraq filming something. He did too much drugs, kicked him out of the film, and was wandering the desert, all high. Comes up on this crash ship that was left over from the invasion of the Avengers. Then, he kind of goes and looks in the wreckage, see if he could sell anything, and he finds this box. And in the box, there's 10 rings, and he's like, dude, this stuff is pretty pimp. I bet you I could sell this and get some good opium or something like that. And he's like, yeah, dude. And the rings are like giant because they're for some aliens or something like that. And, he kind of jokes around and puts them on, and he's like, yeah. And then they snap to his hands, and he goes crazy, and, and it's like, and then all of a sudden you see some terrorists pull up, and the Mandarin's just like, they're like, gala, gala, they're like, they're yelling in Arabic and all this kind of stuff, and he just does all this cool power, and they're like, whoa, like, dude, we're sorry, and they're like, and he's like, yeah, you bowed to me, and then like, it's the same terrorist group that Tony Stark messes with, and they're like, please, and it's like, you guys are weak, you guys join me, and all the terrorists do. And then we kind of get that plot, and then he starts bombing and all this kind of stuff. Next comes the extremist guy, Guy Pearce, which in my opinion, Guy Pearce was awesome in the film. He was awesome as the nerd. He was awesome as the main villain. That was good. But he's not the Mandarin. He's not. So, and then he comes, he's doing all this, like, the Mandarin's doing all this terrorism stuff, and then, Guy Pearce finds him with his tech thing, and he's like, hey, you know what? Why don't we give you a global audience instead of just, right here? Why don't we, let's help each other out, and we'll take care of Iron Man. And, that's how they come to work together. And, fight scenes happen, all this kind of stuff. I'm not a writer. I'm just a guy. So fight scenes happen, blah, blah, blah. Towards the end of the movie, Iron Man wins, takes out the rings somehow. And then, like, he goes back to being that nerdy guy. And then here we go. So, he gives the rings to S.H.I.E.L.D. or whatever. And then at the end of the credits, here's the cool thing. Like, oh yeah, we did research on the rings. 9 of the rings were all made from the same thing as the Tesseract. So that's how they got the power. And it was like, it was going to be weapons for like, for some dude. And except with the exception of one ring. And it's like a ring, and it's got this big old, gem. And it's like, this one gem is like 10,000 times more powerful than the Tesseract. And then, and we have no idea where it's from. And then, you get cue to the gauntlet and it's missing a gem, or, the gauntlet's missing a gem or something like that. Or I had an idea of like, when he puts on the rings, in Pirates of the Caribbean, when they drop that piece in the water and you see that, poof, so when the Mandarin guy puts on the rings, you see that shockwave, and like you see cut to space, and then like, and then you can cut back to the whole Thanos thing. That's just my idea. And, I just really wanted to see the 10 rings of power, and I just really wanted to see how they were going to explain it, and they didn't. It was a huge cop-out. It was crap. And I guess that's all I got to say about that. That was just my idea, I guess in my head, that's the movie. The rings were made from Tesseract, from the fragments of the Tesseract, and one of the last rings was part of the Infinity Gauntlet, one of the gems. There you go. That's my version of Iron Man 3. Well, anyways, guys, thanks for watching this. Let me know what you guys think. I know you guys are going to be like, Kenny, you're retarded. The movie was awesome. I'm like, look, the movie was good. It's going to entertain you. What they did to the Mandarin was not good. Like, so all the people who don't read the books, didn't watch the show as a kid, they're going to be like, yeah, awesome. And all of the people who really like it and, like, are going to, they're going to hate it. It's like, it's making the Joker an actor. It's like making Darth Vader, an actor. You take off the suit and it's like, oh, it's Jar Jar Binks. That's what it is. That's what they did. They take out the Darth Vader helmet and it's Jar Jar Binks, and with a voice box. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Hope it wasn't too long. All right, peace.